Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kid Lee, and the 2017 Producers Roadmap is finally upon us. So the plan for this evening is we're just going to go over this thing nice and slow, do a little bit of Q&A on it. So if anybody has any questions as we're going through it, we'll hopefully be able to answer all that. Let's bring up my camera here real quick. We don't want Twitter. That's silly. We want that. That is what we really want. Before we get started, let me do some shout-outs here real quick. Let me bring up my list. Hello to Abala. Hello, Christian Streaming, Gator Skull, Gun Notes, Loatbot 1980, Ron Allen, Zakron, The Shadowy Nightmare, Jay Morgar 8855. I think I saw Mox in there as well, even though he's not showing on my list. And to anyone else that I may have missed, hello. Actually, to very quickly here, fix up on Mox's quote here real quick. What he was trying to say was,
"Roadmap we have. Yes. Guide you I will.
That's what he was really trying to say. But yep, here we go. We've got it right here. So I think without further ado, we're just going to go ahead and jump right into it. I don't think I'm going to read the entire thing word for word. I think there's probably going to be sections that I read. But otherwise, we're just going to sort of hit the key topics and paraphrase it here and there. But let's go ahead and start off with this top line here. And this is from Keith. If you don't know, he's actually the new producer. And funny thing is, he actually released a message yesterday. He was like, I don't know, guys. I don't know if we're going to make it in time. We're not going to make it in time. And then, of course, they did make it in time, which was kind of funny. But I think he was just trying to jump on damage control nice and early, which was kind of funny. Okay, so just here real quick here, the paraphrase of the beginning here. Basically, the SWTOR Roadmap offers insight into our direction for the game, starting with the Summer of SWTOR activities, which begins on June 13th, 2017. The roadmap covers all of our plans, including what areas of the game we are focusing on, areas targeted for quality of life improvements, and plans for overall gameplay changes. Okay? Now, there was another line in here that I wanted to make sure that I grab here. Actually, it was up in this upper line here, so let's actually read this real quick. It says, our Star Wars The Old Republic team has been very busy reviewing all areas of the game and have built a vision that we are eager to share with you in this roadmap. We have gathered suggestions directly from our players and influencers and gained insights from comments on our forums and those of other fan sites. Now, I want to go ahead and I want to start with that right there, because I'm sure there are some of you out there who feel like you're posting comments all over the internet and maybe your feedback is not getting heard. From what I understand, from what I know, especially here in 2017, BioWare has really stepped up their game in getting as much feedback as possible. One of my sort of jobs, if you want to call it that, as an influencer, is every month I actually have to send a report to BioWare. So yes, I have paperwork. So you guys should be happy that you don't have to do this paperwork that I do. And as part of that, I go over my comments and stuff you guys say here on Twitch, and I will actually send that to them. So if there's anything that's really, really big that you guys are telling me, I give that to them. So your voices are definitely heard. Now, one of the really interesting lines here is this one right here. We've gathered suggestions directly from our players and influencers. Now, they actually have this line just a little bit separate compared to the line talking about the forums and fan sites. So I wanted to just briefly talk about this. Now, in addition to the monthly report that I do, people ask, do you actually get to talk with the developers? And the answer to that is basically yes. There are some things that happen between the influencers and the developers that are under NDA that we cannot talk about. But just, I guess, be rest assured that there are discussions that are happening between the influencers and the developers. And then sort of the first part of the line here is they actually say directly from our players. They actually have, and I'm trying to figure out how exactly I want to word this, but they have their own sort of testing group of players, I guess is the best way that I would say it, who they go to for direct information in addition to the influencers, the forums, Reddit, and all that stuff. So before we go any further, do you guys have any sort of questions regarding that area? Because if you do, I'd like to go ahead and get that out of the way before we continue. And you'll notice that it also says here lots of information from conversations at the Cantina events. They've, as you know, they've cut that down pretty good. They're down to what, maybe 2 cantinas a year now? It was kind of neat back in the day when they were kind of traveling the country doing those cantinas all over the place. I think that's probably one of the things that I regret is that I've never been able to go to one of the cantinas. What's their process for how they go about looking at comments? I don't know if I can actually answer that or not, but what I can tell you is, from what I've heard, is they're pretty much just scanning the internet constantly. I'm trying to remember if it was Musco or who told me this quote, and so this quote might be off, so don't hold me to it, but I want to say it was either Musco or Boyd who actually said, you know, they have big computer setups at the office, and Blizzard does this too, and they're like, we've always got a couple of Twitch streams up, you know, stuff like that. So, and we know they're on Reddit all the time, and they're on the forums all the time, and I think lower in this roadmap, they're actually going to talk a little bit more about player communication, so we'll sort of circle back to that as well. All right, so I think for the meantime, we will go ahead and we'll move on. So what's next and what you can expect from SWTOR in the coming months is basically going to be highlighted in the rest of this. This screenshot here, if you've not seen this screenshot, this is actually from the next operation boss. So this is actually going to be the room that you're fighting in for the next operation boss. It's like the twin sisters. And off the top of my head, I forget their name is right here. It's Esne and Elvana, if I'm saying it correctly. So that's that screenshot if you've never seen it. Okay, as we go down here, actually the first real topic that they hit is operations. And the first line here is, it's been far too long since we've provided you with extremely challenging multiplayer activities. We know all of our operations, 8 to 16 player, PvE boss fights, our favorite pastime for guilds. Now, I think it's really interesting that they actually, this is kind of a line of them admitting, okay, we realize that we've not been doing operations and we probably should have the last 2 years. That's kind of what I get from that line. But the rest of this really isn't giving too much more information than what we already know. It's basically just saying that we are working on the other bosses, and the next one, the dual sister fight, is already on the PTS, and people have already been playing it, and the feedback has been really excellent. So they already have people on the test server testing this operation, so it should be really interesting. Next up, they actually talk about, well, I guess before we do that, do we want to talk about operations at all? I don't know if you guys have any questions. I mean, I think the main line, like I already said, I think they know they kind of messed up a little bit. by waiting this long to do the next operation. And I think the one comment that I hear so much about the operation thing is, why did they decide to release this one boss at a time rather than the whole thing? If you don't know, that was actually based on player feedback. So actually, if we go all the way back up here and we talk about how they get feedback, you can pretty much say it was the same thing. So these sources up here are the people who told them that doing it one at a time was actually better than all at once. So I'm going to wait for the stream to catch up here for just a second. So Christian streaming is saying at least they can admit that they made a mistake. Most companies won't ever do that. That is true. That is absolutely true. I actually have a Loadbot agrees. They messed up. But at least they're trying to push it out to us. Yep, and I think down below it actually says when we're going to get that next boss. So we'll discuss that here in just a little bit. But moving on to PvP here for a second, and I actually thought this was an interesting line. So first they talk about we've introduced 2 new PvP war zones last year and plan to continue improving PvP by adding fun activities throughout the year. And talk about Season 8, which is slated to end in August. In with 5.4, which is going to be the Crisis on Embara, and finalizing the rewards. There was another line in here. I want to make sure that I don't miss it. Okay, because I've actually read through this a couple of times because I wanted to make sure that I actually get to the key points for you guys. But they also know that class balance has been a very hot topic, and it's something that they're going to be fixing. And there's actually additional information on class balance down just a little bit lower, so we'll get to that here in just a second as well. But they continue to say that basically they're working on building plans for future balance changes. They're actually going to begin to roll out changes with that update 5.3 in July, and will continue monthly updates until we are satisfied with the adjustment. I don't think they're ever going to be satisfied. If you know anything about MMOs, you'll know that perfect PvP class balance is impossible. Not possible. Don't even, I mean, you can try. World of Warcraft's been trying to do it for 10 years, and they still haven't got it right. So one question in chat, are they going to continue the story after Iocath and these operations? Yes, they've already confirmed that the story is going to continue in, and I believe it's going to say more down below. It could be, it's either 5.3 or 5.4, and that they're going to be doing a new flashpoint, and the new flashpoint is going to be where the story is going to continue. But yeah, we should have more information down below after we get done with the PvP thing here. So yep, class balance changes in 5.3. But here's the big line here, and it's the remainder of this year will include new Warzone. So there you go, PvP players. You're getting something new. Now, it's going to be really interesting to see if it's actually going to be a format or game type that we already have, or if it's going to be something completely new. So I would pose this question to those of you in chat. We're getting a new Warzone. Would you like to see a game mode that we already have? Like another Hutball map or another, you know, almost siege defense type map? Or would you like to see something completely new? So what would you guys like to see? Finally, they're going to fix Galactic Starfighter because nobody plays that anymore, and it really needs a major update. Yes. Yes, it does. So while I'm waiting for your answer on the Warzone, we'll continue this, and it actually says right here that Galactic Starfighter changes to the ranked PvP earlier, and Season 9 rewards, and then the continued review and adjustment of the classes. So they're going to be doing some stuff with Galactic Starfighter. They actually said in another update that they're going to be adjusting how easy it is going to be to unlock stuff in Galactic Starfighter. And hopefully people will be able to progress quicker. Because I think one of the issues right now, and I actually streamed Galactic Starfighter, last week or the week before? It seems like every time I go into Galactic Starfighter, one of two things happen. It's you're either with a group, it could be a pre-made, maybe not, but you're either with a group, you go in and you just completely demolish the other team, right? Or flip side, you go in and you're going against that team and you get completely demolished. It just seems like it's one way or the other. Actually going in and having a really good, close, competitive match, I have not seen that in a year, 6 months, 8 months. It's been a while. And I think that might have to do with gear. Because we know that people, I mean, BioWare's already said that there's a very dedicated group that play Galactic Starfighter. So that's what they do with the majority of their time. They go in, they probably have all their ships maxed out. And so when you're going in there as somebody new, you have, no points in any of your stuff. You basically have no chance. If the player base was bigger, it would be really nice if they were to actually put in some type of a different queuing system for that. Maybe all the parts and pieces and little tier things that you're upgrading for your ships, maybe there's actually a number they associate with that. And so let's say a newbie is 0 and maxed out is 1,000. So maybe between 0 and 500 is one queue, and then 501 to 1,000 is a different queue. But I think right now they can't do that because the player base, or at least the people playing that game, there's just not enough playing it. So that's not really an option. Going back to chat for a second. So people are actually talking about like Warsong Gulch in World of Warcraft, or AV. Yeah, AV, because I did play World of Warcraft, and AV was huge. There is not a battleground in SWTOR that has the scale of something like AV. Multiple objectives and all that stuff. Let's see, maybe they could do a thing in Warzone like Battlefront 2. You know what, Christian Streaming? I have actually said that before. For anybody who played the new Star Wars Battlefront, think about the Hoth map with the walkers. Or, it's basically the Battle of Hoth from the movie. So, giant battleground with vehicles. Now, whether or not you have them on or off rails, that, who knows on that. But basically, just a massive, massive battleground where one side has got one objective, stop the walkers, and then the other side has another objective to destroy the shield generator or whatever. But yeah, something of that scale would be with vehicles, and I really want to point that out, with vehicles. Now, we have vehicle combat in the game now. They've been doing it with the story stuff a little bit. With those walkers in particular, I would like to see them polish that up a little bit. I'd love to be able to strafe a little bit. I mean, I don't know how well that would work, but it just seems like every time I'm inside one of them walkers, they just need to be able to improve the controls a little bit. I guess that's my main thing on that. Hey, Novik, how's it going? So, yes, new Warzone. So, hopefully all the PvP players will be happy with that. There's no date on that yet, just sometime this year. Something like Walker PvP would be cool. Absolutely. Now, there was maybe Mox, because I know Mox has been playing a lot of World of Warcraft lately. There is another Warzone or Battleground in World of Warcraft where one side is on like a beachfront, and you have a bunch of vehicles. and then the other side is like defending a castle or something with big doors. That's what I remember. Maybe it's like a siege. Maybe that's the better word to use, is a siege. Oh, you don't PvP in WoW? Okay. But if anybody can tell me the name of that particular battleground, I think something like that would be really cool. So, and again, you could almost say that's like the Battle of Hoth a little bit, but again, it's like you got the walkers or the mounts or vehicles or whatever coming in, and then you have the other side that's basically defending the castle or, you know, whatever. Maybe somebody will be able to give me that name here in just a minute. But yeah, that pretty much wraps up what they said for PvP. But yeah, basically just getting a new war zone, doing some stuff with Galactic Starfighter, and then balance. Was it Alteric Valley? Could be. The name is escaping me at the moment. Well, we will move on to like the Kashyyyk map from Battlefront 2. Oh man, it's been a long time since I played that game. Long time. The only map that I remember from Battlefront 2 is the... Oh man. And it's escaping my mind. The I want to say Manon. No, it's not Manon. The world where the clone guys are from, the clone troopers. It's, wow. Somebody's going to tell me here in about 2 seconds. Camino, thank you. The Camino map. That was an incredible map, which I believe they are going to have in the new Battlefront as well. Anywho, let's go ahead and move on with this. So the next up, we're talking about story and companions. And basically, they kind of repeated a little bit what I already said. And they said that we will continue to move forward with the story after the events on Iocath. Basically talking about Star Wars Celebration 2017. The next major story update in August is going to be the Crisis on... Yumbara, which is going to have the brand new Flashpoint on the shadowy planet. So a new Flashpoint, once again confirmed, that is going to feature the new story mode. Now, I've already seen the question, because there's some people who like playing solo. They're like, well, is this new Flashpoint going to have the solo mode? The fact that it's going to be so story-driven, you would think so. You would think that if they're going to put this in, they would have everything, that they're going to have tactical, solo, you know, veteran, master, just everything. You would think. But I don't think they're actually confirming any of that at this time. They're just simply saying that they're doing it. And it also says here that we won't give you any spoilers about this new area. Talking about companions, this has been an extremely hot topic. People want their companions back. I want my wife back. Musco, give me Mako. I want Mako. I miss her so much. Strands of the Ancients and Isle of Conquest. Yeah, those names are not ringing a bell. It's been a long time since I've done that. But they basically say here, we know bringing back your old companions is extremely important, so we are excited to see more of them returning throughout the year. Additionally, we will release updates over the summer. Now, here's they're sort of skipping over that, and then they're immediately going to, you'll be able to customize some of your favorite companions, including Theron, Lana, Koth, Senya. So all of these guys are getting the full gear slots. So you'll finally be able to customize, and Shane Vizsla, which I missed there. But you can finally get that jacket off of Theron and put something different on him if you want. And I think overall, a lot of people have been really, really happy about that announcement. And then the last line here is, we'll review and adjust which companions you'll receive through the Alliance alerts. It's been a while since they've done an Alliance alert. Slave girl, Lana. Drax. How's it going? I must be one of these weird people when it comes to what they've done here. Okay, let me back up. Let me back up. When this game first came out and you get your companions for the first time and all this and that, I was totally RPing the whole thing. It's like, okay, I want my Mako to look like this and my vet to look like this, so forth and so on. But it just seems like here recently when they have sort of changed this and these companions come back in sort of their new outfits, I've generally been very, very happy with the new outfits. So me personally, I don't see myself really changing their default outfits. I'm pretty happy with the ones that they've done, but I can definitely understand that this is a very hot topic, and I know a lot of other people really, really want this stuff, so I'm glad that they're adding that in. Ah, hey, Darth Shady. How's it going? If I'm saying your name correctly. If I'm not, please correct me. So, yeah, you're actually saying the same Christian streaming. It's like, same. I really don't want to change them. Yeah. So, moving along here. So, it says here, we will continue to provide regular improvements for the companions this year to enable you to basically license their in-game influence by... Oh, actually, this is actually a different subject. And this was actually something else that was already announced, and it was that you will be able to increase the companion's influence by doing in-game tasks. So basically all the crafting and gathering stuff, when you're sending your companions out on those missions, you are now going to get the influence points. So I think people overall are going to be leveling up the influence on their companions a lot quicker. And I think a side effect from this is actually going to be a major influx of resources into the GTN. Because as an example for me, I will fully admit that I have not done serious crafting in this game in years. But now that this is going to be a thing, I'm going to go around to all my tunes and have them just cranking out missions. And I'm going to take all those resources, I'm going to put them on the GTN. And I have a feeling like a lot of people are going to do that. So I think prices are going to potentially drop and all that stuff. So if you're somebody who's been sitting on a lot of resources, maybe you might want to start selling that stuff now. Because when this actually gets put in, I really think it's going to drop prices. So Mock says that they need to expand on that, which is a great idea. They need to give influence for using the companions or having legacy influence. Yeah, because, yeah, like me, you've got 20 characters. And actually, as I just said, it's like I'm going to have to log on and Rolodex every single one of them and just keep them rolling all the time, keeping the missions going. So, yeah, something legacy for that, I think, would be a fantastic idea. TC Thief, thank you for the host. Thank you very much. For anybody who's just joining us, we are going over the brand new 2017 Producers Roadmap. So if anybody has any questions, we're kind of doing this nice and slow and just doing a Q&A. Hey, TC, thanks for the host again. Okay, so moving on here just a little bit. So it says here, in addition, based on the feedback we received about IOCath, we are exploring options for yet another new daily area, or new daily areas, adding and or updating events and offering special rewards for a variety of in-game activities. So hopefully at some point, send me some love on YouTube. If you want to, go ahead and post your link in chat, TC. So if anybody doesn't know, TC is another great SWTOR content creator. If you guys want to check out his stuff on YouTube, I think he's going to post that link here in just a second. Hey, SWTOR John, how's it going? Okay, let's go ahead and move on to quality of life. Oh, there we go. Rage Brothers, youtube.com/Rage Brothers. Now, quality of life is something that they've really been pumping up here. When they released the map a patch or two ago, that was an example of a major quality of life improvement for the game, being able to really get around the galaxy so much quicker than what we've been able to do before is really, really nice. But just a little bit of quote here from them. It says that the quality of life is a term used to reference improvements to make into the game experience. I'm just kind of paraphrasing.
Another loyal devotee.
Zydro, thank you for the follow. And as Yoda might say,
Looking, found someone you have,
So improvements to the user interface, simplifying ways to do things in-game, increasing the mount speed, which we know that is coming, and adding legacy perks and more. Now, they actually have a line in here about customization improvements such as adding weapon tuning enhancements to player collections, as we will continue to seek out player feedback on other customization options. Now, one thing that they didn't talk about here, but they have confirmed on the forums, is the fact that they are actually going to be adding the weapons into the outfit designer. Now, they don't know if it's actually going to make this year or this cycle or not, but it's something that they want to do, and they're going to really try hard to get that done, which is going to be pretty cool. Now, for the rest of this, we actually have a little bit of an outline of what is going to be happening here. So let's actually go ahead and start with update 522, which is going to be June 13th. So we now have a confirmed date on that, if you didn't already have that. And that is going to be the return of the Nar Shaddaa Nightlife event with all new rewards, including a new Gamorrean companion. I want to see you guys put the slave outfit on that one. And people in chat are going like, yes, Gamorreans. Starfighter improvements, which we talked a little bit about up above, but they're going to be increasing the more lizard sounds. Yeah. Increasing the wreck gains. Gunship and bombers will now be available by default, which should open up some interesting things in the new ship customization options. It's going to be interesting to see exactly what that is. And then once again, we've got the companion influence earned through crew skill missions, which we just talked about, but we now know that this is going to be confirmed for June 13th. And actually, June 13th is only about 2 weeks away. Yeah. So that's going to be here before we know it. Next up is Command Experience Legacy Perk for Alts. All right, so now listen to this one. Once one of your characters reach Command Rank 300, you can acquire a new Legacy Perk to increase CXP gains for all of your characters. Now, they've already done this once, but it was on a character-per-character basis. So if you stack that on top of this new one, that's going to be pretty interesting. And of course, they actually don't give a percentage here, but it's going to be interesting to see what the actual percentage is for that one. Next up, the ability to craft T4 armor for anybody who's into that. And then as we were just talking above, the Theron and Shane Vizsla appearance customization will happen on 522. How does that work? Which one are you referring to? Darth Shady. The Theron slave outfit, anyone? So, as far as I'm aware, how it's going to work is...
Enjoy your stay.
Mr. Deadshot, thank you for the follow. And welcome to the dark side. So, as it says here, once one of your characters, and I'm sure this is going to be server-based, right? So once one of your characters reaches command rank 300, that is going to unlock a new legacy perk. I'm sure it's going to work very similar to the way that the HK one works or the Treek one. So where it's like, once you have this unlocked with one character, you can then go into your legacy and unlock it for the rest of them. So I'm sure it's going to be very similar to that. That would be my guess. Next up, new legacy perk, mount speed 4 and 5, which is going to be a speed increase 120 and 130%. Oh, those are account-wide, Treek and HK. Oh, that might have been a change that I was not aware of. Thanks, Mox. Because I always thought on those guys that once you had it unlocked with one, you then had to go into Legacy, click the thing, and then it would unlock it for the rest of them. And I want to say there was a fee, but maybe there's not anymore. That could be that they removed that. And then finally, and I think this is one of the bigger ones, and that is that they're going to be adding a T1 gear vendor to the fleet to where you can buy the T1 set with command tokens. That is going to be really, really nice. And I'm guessing that they will continue to do that for the other tiers as well. Just removing the... oh, there is a fee, but they are open on all servers. Oh, really? All servers? Learned something new. But yeah, I'm really happy with this T1 gear vendor because I think they'll... Like I said, I think eventually they'll do that for the rest of them, and that is taking away at least a little bit of the RNG. It seems like when it comes to Galactic Command, they just keep inching away from it. Just little bit, little bit, little bit, little bit. And the question that I hear all the time is, oh, just remove it, just remove it. I don't think they'll ever remove it. I could be wrong, but I think it's going to be in the game forever. They've already put too much money into it. And that's really the big thing. They put too much money into it, so it's going to be there forever. But I think they're going to go the way of the tokens and the vendors. Maybe a little bit more moving forward. I know I've been going a little bit fast. I'll try and slow down a little bit for anybody who might have any questions. Yeah, they'll continue to improve it. Yep, that is always possible. If they ever go with my idea on how to improve it, that's going to be the thing. And some of you might be like, well, how could they improve it? You know what? I will show you. Let me show you my crazy idea on how to improve Galactic Command here real quick. We'll switch over to the game. Oh, hold on. I gotta bring on my my whiteboard as we're loading in here. And I've already done a video on this, so I'm going to do the super short version of this. Okay, guys? But I just think this is a super good idea. No, I want blue or red. Okay, so there's my one.
Enjoy your stay.
Also, TC, thank you for the follow. All right, give me 1 second here. Having to make changes on the fly here is always fun. Okay, so here, for those who have not seen it, here is my brilliant idea on how to improve Galactic Command. Let me move to a spot here on the fleet where I can draw stuff. Get out of here, Torian. We don't want you. Let me bring up this screen, and let me bring up this. Okay, so here's my idea, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sure you guys are going to get a kick out of this, okay? So what they're going to do is here is where your packs would normally be, right? So what they're going to do, or what they should do, I should say, let me clarify that, is add a box over here, right? And up at the top of this box, is going to be another box. And then there's going to be a bar. Okay? It's going to be a bar. And then there's going to be a bunch of tick marks inside this bar. Now, let us imagine that inside this box up here is the main hand. You know, whichever one you're after. The T1, T2, you know, whatever. Okay? So, let me change colors here on my little drawy thing. We're going to change over to blue. No, let's change over to pink. So, every single time you open up a command crate, these boxes start to fill in. You open up 1, fills in. You open up 2, fills in. You open up 3, fills in. Once you open up the 5th one or 10th one, whatever they determine, you automatically get the piece of gear that is inside this box. Now, if you are opening your 5 or 10 and you get the main hand, then this one will automatically be replaced by a piece that you do not have. So this guarantees that you will get your set piece every 5 crates, 10 crates, if the RNG does not already give it to you, as SWTOR is now hosting me. Thank you very much. So this would be option 1 on how I would try and improve the Galactic Command crate opening system. Okay? You guys like that one? Yay? Nay? I'll give you option number 2. Yes, thanks for the host, Christian. All right, let me clear the board, and then I'll very quickly show you my second theory. All right, here is my second one. So we're going to move this over. I will say that I like the first one better, but we'll go ahead and do the second one. The second one is, there's actually a box over on this side. Okay? And let's say there's a piece of gear here. There's a piece of gear here. There's a piece of gear here. And then here's like, you know, the description, blah, 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 whatever. So let's say main hand, chest. It's kind of hard to draw on this thing. Main hand, chest, and leg, let's say. And also, I forgot to, we'll put in a couple of little, like, circles over here that I can't make very circly. Okay, so we'll change colors here once again. We'll go back to red. So, idea number 2 is that 3 pieces of gear will show up on the left side. Again, the set bonus chest, set bonus leg, main hand, relic, whatever. When you open up a crate, you are able to check one of these boxes, and it will give you a increased percentage to get the item that you want, like 75%, 80%, 90%, whatever. So it's still got the little bit of RNG that they want, but you can still pick the item you want. And in some ways, this is a little bit better than my idea for number 1, because it could be, you know, I really, really want that main hand first, or the chest first, or the leg first. Okay, I'll go ahead and I'll check it, and I'll just go ahead and I'll make my roll. But yeah, like I said, I like the first idea better. I think it's a lot neater, because you're guaranteed that piece after 5 boxes or 10 boxes or whatever it is. But I just wanted to show that to you guys. So that is that's my 2 ideas on how to fix this system. So we'll go ahead and we'll clear all this out, and we shall go back to this. We'll go ahead and we'll finish this up. So we got done with game update 5.2.2. So we're going to go ahead and move on to stuff that should be fairly new for you guys. And there's some big announcements in here. So definitely So, we're going to call this one the Sisters of Carnage game update 5.3 in July. We're going to skip the first one for a second, and we're going to automatically go to number 2, which is brand new Stronghold with a great ocean view. Ladies and gentlemen, there's only one place where this could be, and that is Manon. This is probably the most highly requested Stronghold in the game. It's South Beach, Florida. Thank you, Mox. Well, you know, Manon, Florida, it's kind of the same. You know, really, if you go back to like Coder 1, Coder 2, you know, there's a lot of drug stuff that's happening on Manon. You know, the culto stuff. It's kind of, you know, kind of crazy with them drugs. It's better than Atlantic City. And both have old people. Yes. So, yep, it looks like, I mean, officially they've not announced it. But it sure looks like Manon is gonna be... Yeah, and you know what? I actually thought about that as well, Russello. I thought, you know, it could be Alderaan, but you would think if they were gonna make a little quip about Alderaan, you'd say something like Snowy Mountains or something. I don't know. Any info on the cost? No, not yet. Yeah, or yeah, Mountain View. Exactly, Drax. All right, well, going back up to the first point, and that is Gods from the Machine will have the second encounter, which is going to be the Sisters of Carnage, which we've already talked about, and this is going to be the story and veteran modes, which is going to be pretty cool. Next up, the ability to search for Stronghold directories using new filters. That's good, I suppose. Don't really mess with that too much. And then finally, well, I guess not finally, but the start of class balance changes, and they're doing the Sork Sage, Powertech Vanguard, Shadow Assassin, Sniper Gunslinger, Merc Commando, and Op Scoundrel. You're going to get all your stuff messed up, and people are probably going to be kind of weird about it. And then appearances for additional companions can also now be customized. So up here we had Theron and Shane Vizsla. So this one down here should be Koth, Lena, and Senya. And was that it? That's 5, right? So that should be the rest of them, hopefully. Next up, we have got the Crisis on Yumbara, and this is going to be 5.4 at some point in August. Also, I should note, for 5.3 in July, they do not have a date set. So, June 13th for 5.2.2, 5.3 no date, and 5.4 in August also no date. But in August, we will indeed be getting that new Flashpoint, which will continue the story after Iocath, so that indeed has been confirmed. It also says here, even more additional companion customization stuff. Hard to say which one at this point. Hard to say. And then, and more to come, question mark, ... So Zarson was saying, so no ops. Oh, hold on a second. So apparently there was a question earlier on Twitter if not including the Jugs Guardians and Sith was a typo or intention of the class. Okay, so apparently it's been confirmed that they do not have an intention of doing a balance on the Jug Guardian Marauder Sentinels at this time. Okay, that's good to know. Thanks, Zarson. I did not see that tweet. And actually, there might have been some additional dev rebuttals, which we can actually check that out here in just a second. And finally, the last thing from Keith here is something that we've already seen. And he basically says, we want to improve our cadence of releasing information for you. It is important to us that you know... Yeah, right, SWTOR John. Oh, sorry. It is important to us that you know... Wait. Am I reading this wrong? It is important to us that you know your... Oh, you know your options. Well, let's try this again. Your opinions count, and you have a serious stake in whatever changes we make to this game. To do this, we must chat with you on a regular basis, and with a specific focus in mind. That is our plan. Starting this week, and weeklies thereafter throughout June and July, we are going to be posting on the forums to share specific features we're thinking about and those already in progress. We want to get your input and talk you through the pros and cons of each topic. So that is really cool. And that's, if we actually go back, that's something that they kind of talked about a little bit with the whole weapons in the outfit designer. So they're actually going to be moving forward, at least for the next couple of months, is saying, here's an idea that we have. What do you guys think about it? Should we do it? Should we not do it? Or here's something we already have in progress. What do you think? Should we do it? Should we not do it? So that's pretty cool. I personally don't recall them ever doing something of that scale on the forums before, which is pretty cool. And then just sort of to wrap this up, he says, we'll be posting a wide variety of topics, anything from new content to the renovation of existing features. Look out for these posts every Wednesday. So you're saying here in chat, see, I still don't think it makes sense for the non-focusing or non-forcing using classes to be in the Fallen Empire situation with Arc. Oh, no, I see what you're saying. The non-forced using classes to be in the Fallen Empire situation with Arc and Valkyrian. Yeah, it does. It does come across as weird sometimes. Like the smuggler, as an example, he just kind of walks in and... And he's like, oh, you're just a nobody. I should just kill you. So here real quick, let's actually jump up here and see if the developers have actually posted anything new. So this I have not really looked at yet. Let's see. One of the things we mentioned is that we are going to start posting around the first of each month with a list of all the scheduled... Yeah. Okay, so this is a different subject. They want to be more vocal about the maintenance. And so Tuesday the 13th is 522, and then Tuesday, June 27th is back-end maintenance, no patch. All right, let's see if there's any good questions that have been happening on this here real quick. Apparently, Musco wants some donuts. Okay. I mean, donuts are good. I'm okay with that. Oh, yeah, this was something that Keith said earlier in his post yesterday. For those who don't know, Keith plays the game like a lot. He actually says that he's got 4 characters to 300 CXP. But I think that, I mean, that's the roadmap. There was definitely some good things in there. as we kind of go back on this for a second, for some people who may have joined a little late, they talked about operations, they talked about PvP. There is a new war zone coming for anybody who missed that. But I guess just sort of overall, is there anything in particular that you all want to talk about, or any comments that you've got? Trying to keep up with chat a little bit. Just so we have a little bit of background noise, I think I'll actually go ahead and start up the game sound. So Mox is saying that EV and KP hard mode should have their gear tier lowered. You missed the start of the stream. Was there anything about a new op? No. There's nothing about a new operation. At this time, they're just going to finish up the one that they've already done, or they're the one that they're already starting, which is War from the Machine. They'll get that one done, and then they should hopefully start working on the next one. And we know what the next boss is going to be, but the one after that, we don't know. So if you're asking sort of my general opinion of, if I had the power, how would I really do gearing in an MMO like this? Let me go ahead and actually just bring up the game for a second. And it's always a tough choice, and it can definitely vary based on, you know, the type of MMO that it is. But I think for a hotkey MMO like Star Wars The Old Republic, I think having a little bit of a dual system is the way to go. Having tokens is something that you want. Having direct drops from, like, operation bosses is something that you want. And then I think crafting is something that you want. Because there should be multiple ways to get the end game progression gear, because there's people who don't like PvPing, there's people who don't like raiding, there's people who maybe do or do not like crafting, so you need multiple avenues to do it. And I think a pure RNG system is definitely not the way to go. I think they need to continue to improve upon it, taking away as much of the RNG as possible. And like I was showing earlier with my first example, I think that's the way to go. Add in that bar, you open up 5 crates, you're guaranteed a piece. A set piece, I should say. Not a green, not a blue, a set piece. Guaranteed a set piece every 5 crates. Absolutely. But, the other thing you don't want to do is you also don't want to make the acquisition of endgame gear too easy. Because then if you do, the hardcore people will grind it too quick. And then they get their ult, they grind it too quick. Another ult, they grind it too quick. And then there's nothing to do. Then they complain there's nothing to do. It's just, in this type of MMO, it's really, really hard to do content, I feel like. Because you've got games like this, you've got games like World of Warcraft, the very standard hotkey MMO. And, let's look at, like, the larger scale here for a second. For those who don't follow the gaming industry like I do, if you didn't know, the MMO genre as a whole is something that has been dying. Yeah, it's really dropping off right now. And it has been for a good year, year and a half, 2 years. When EverQuest Next got canceled, that was kind of the nail in the coffin. There were a lot of other developers who were like, okay, if Daybreak, if they feel like they can't release another EverQuest, then there's definitely something happening with this MMO genre right now. And it seems like here recently, the only ones that have been coming out are the ones that are being ported over from Korea. You know, like Black Desert Online and some of those. Actually having like...
Enjoy your stay.
Twiddly D, thank you for the follow. And as Yoda might say...
The king found someone, you have him.
But if there's an actual, like, United States or Canadian, like, a developer that's actually building, like, a new MMO right now, you'll notice that their numbers have really, really gone down. And off the top of my head, like, actual mainstream MMOs that are currently in development, I can only name one. Not counting Destiny 2. You really hope they don't rely on the influencers for class balance changes? Oh, believe me, they don't. They don't. Because you'd have to be somebody who plays every single class in every single avenue of the game to really understand class balance. As the dark side is victorious. And for anybody who follows me a lot, you know that I personally, I'm not a big fan of the PvP in this game. So if you were to ask me right now, and I get the question every once in a while, it's like, so I want to PvP a lot. What's the best class? And I'm like, I have no idea. Merc, maybe? I've heard Mercs are like super strong right now because of the new shield. But I don't know if that translates over to PvP. I have no idea. Don't ask me any PvP questions. I can answer anything else in the game for you, but asking me about balance and PvP, I have no idea. I'll admit that right now. No idea. Yeah, and that's why I kind of said Destiny 2, you can't really count it, SWTOR John, because Destiny 2, technically it's an MMO, but it's a very, or you know, just Destiny in general. It's technically it's an MMO, but it's a very different kind of MMO. It's very different. It's very, very different. We should earn CXP from the crew skills. I'm down for that. That's a decent idea. That's a really good idea. Are you asking me to play Weatherman now, Ark? Because I can totally do that. For those who don't know, it's a huge hobby of mine. He says he's got a huge cumulus cloud over my area with lots of lightning but no thunder. It is beautiful and nice, relaxing. Well, see, Ark. See, this is how it really goes, Ark. Alright? Gonna have to get my Drawley pens out again. Which I think I still have up, right? Oh god, I just moved the screen. Crap. What happened to my... What the deuce? What happened to my whiteboard? It just disappeared. You dumb thing. I'm an AFK? Crap. Did not mean to do that. Okay. Now we have a blue line on the screen. So things are going extremely well. I was going to incite Ark with my awesome weather knowledge. Okay, Ark, let's say you're looking to the west and you see a storm front. You've got what they call the base. So pretend you're looking at the sky. This is what they call the base. You will sometimes see a lowering, which looks something like this. This is what they call a wall cloud. Sometimes you'll see little things like this. This is actually what they refer to as scud. And it's actually a decoy. Sometimes people mistake scud for tornadoes. But anyway, from the wall cloud, this is where, and let's pretend that this is the ground down here, right? So this is the ground. So basically, from the wall cloud, this is where you'll actually get your tornadoes to spawn. Like that. Yeah, I've been trying to stay out of that conversation a little bit, Mox. But if you guys don't know, Mox is also one of the BioWare influencers. He is one of the smartest guys out there, so he knows what he's talking about. So whatever Mox is saying, he's got my full support. So that's Weather 101, kids. So you guys stay safe. We'll go ahead and clear that out. But nope, sort of just wrapping up and going back to the 2017 roadmap. Does anybody have sort of any final questions on that? As we'll go ahead and we'll wrap that up. I apologize if I've missed any questions. The chat's been going pretty crazy. Oh, you're actually at a heat lightning cloud. Those actually come up as red sometimes up here. No, to be honest, Zarson, when you and Mox were talking, I was ignoring what you guys were saying. You guys were just kind of in your own little conversation, and I was ignoring it. So for the roadmap, I will fully admit that I wish there was a little bit more information in here. I want to say some of the ones they've done in the past actually had more than this in it. I think this is a good start from where they, you know, like I said, they haven't really done one of these in a while. But I think this is definitely a good start, and then hopefully they'll just continue to feed information to us, and everything will be all hunky-dory. Keith said he's going to be doing quarterly roadmaps now. I had not heard that. Every 3 months. Yeah, I check the dev stuff every day, and I had not seen that arc, so I don't know if he posted that somewhere else. But that's definitely news to me. Yeah, you're definitely right. It would be good to know which companions are coming when. More than likely on Reddit. Yeah, I only kind of half-watch Reddit. Reddit's kind of a wild battleground, so to speak. Did I read about the communication? Yes, I did. But yeah, overall, I think the communication's been pretty good. And hopefully they'll just continue to do what they've been doing. If not, you know, do better stuff, which would be cool. Oh, it says it under communication? Hold on a second. That's at the bottom. Oh, okay, yeah. And of course, I plan to deliver an updated roadmap each quarter. Oh, that's cool. Okay, so that makes a lot of sense. I pulled a little disappearing act. Yeah, I did. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think that'll go ahead and do it for this video. Of course, if you have any comments or questions, please leave them below. Thank you all so much for watching. And with that being said, everybody keep playing and have fun. All right, that was for YouTube, guys.